So, in human eye, basically, uh, retina is that tissue where all the photoreceptor cells means those cells which are specialized to sense light are present. And this way, retina is one of the most important uh, tissue of the eye, because if this retina detaches or if it malfunctions, the human beings will not be able to see, right? So this is very important. So basically the photoreceptor cells are present on the retina. This is the blind spot, which is also called yellow spot. There are no photoreceptor cells found at this place. While fovea, that we had learned, that fovea is that part. If you can see that focused image, that this is that part of the um, retina which has the highest number of photoreceptor cells. Now there are two types of photoreceptor cells: rods and cones, right? Rods and cones. Now rods and cones are two types of receptor cells, and their function are different. As you know that light can be of either it can be brighter or either it can be dim light. So have you ever observed, have you ever thought about it, have you ever pondered that whenever what how do you see the things when there is a bright light, and how do you see the same things when there is dim light or when there is no light? For example, if the power goes down, right, if there is a power shut off, everything looks gray, right? But whenever you turn on the light, you find the colors, you feel the colors, you can see the colors of the same object which you couldn't see in the dim light. So actually this is done by the two type of photoreceptor cells which are present on this retina: rods and cones. Now rods are those photoreceptor cells that basically they sense the dim light. Whenever there is dim light, very very low light, right, these receptor cells, they sense the light and they provide you the vision, right? But this vision is with less details, right? And usually the image color is gray or black and white type of, basically it is gray image, right? So whenever you are walking or whenever you are in a room where no light is turned on, you could still see the things but with less details, right? You cannot see the pins and needles and very small objects in that. Very few details you can see, less detail, and all the things would be looking grayish. So rods are those cells which cannot give you, which cannot provide you actually a colored image, right? While the cones are those cells which can sense bright light. When there is a bright light, when you are outside, outdoor, or even indoor, when there is a tube light or a light is turned on, right? Then we can see that colorful light, right? We can see the colorful images, we can see the colors of all the objects. Now the cones are of three, there are three type of cones: blue, red, and green, right? These are actually the colored cone, which blue cones basically sense the blue light, and which is present in this white spectrum, white light, and blue, red, and green, and together they are able to give us a colored image, right? So this is basically, if you can see that it is an electron micrograph of the small part of the retina, right? And you can see that this color actually has been added. Always remember that electron micrograph, whatever the pictures that we take from the electron microscope, they are always black and white, right? Later on, with the help of graphics, right, we can add the colors. So you can see that the tall pink colors cells are the rods, right? So these rod cells are actually those cells which can only feel, sense dim light. Now the cones cannot sense the dim light. Cones do not work in darkness, right? In dim light, same as rods do not work in bright light. Okay, and the green ones are the cones one, right? This is what you need to remember, because sometime it happens that they ask you in P1 question that rods sense which type of light. So you would be saying a dim light, right? And the cones basically bright colored light, right? Take a bright light they can give you, and the image that you can see from the cones is a colored image, right? While from the rods it is black and white or the gray image. Now the at this point of the eye, this point, now let me tell you the location of the rods and cones. Okay, so at this site and at this site, mostly rods are present, right? Rods are present at the edges of retina, while the cones they are present here and here at fovea. At this part, fovea, cones are found in lot of number, right? So at this side, cones are found, and at the edges of the retina, rods are found, right? So that's why this is something that you must know. This the division of rods and cones where they are found more abundant. You should know about it. Uh, how can we see things in darkness? Yes, because rods are working. See, how can we see the things? Do you know that how can we see the things? That because there is always some light present. Never ever think that there is never a, there is always some light until and unless there is total darkness, just like under deep the sea, right? There is always some light. For example, it can be a street light which is coming from outside into your, let's say that if there is a load shedding, there is no light in your house, there must be some street light or the moonlight or starlight, which you really never think of it, but you find this light whenever there is no artificial light that is being turned on in your home or in your house. So that light, usually the people who travel in the night time in the forest or long time ago, what they used to, how do they used to travel, they used to basically occupy the starlights, right? The moonlight that helps them to see in the darkness, right? And since your cones are not able to sense the light at that time, that's why you are not able to see the detailed image, because cones only detect light when there is bright light and they give you detailed image, while the rods are something that is Allah Ta'ala has given you in to see, not to see with detail but just only to see when there is very dim light. See, rods are found mostly here at this site, at the edges. They are found this at this site, at these edges, right? While the cones, they are found at this, mostly at this fovea. Some of them are here as well. But rods, they are found these edges. But here they are not equally distributed. Here cones are found, but cones are mostly found here. They are less here. Let me clear it first, right? Cones are cones. See, cones are abundantly found here. They are also found here, but it in less number. And rods, they are found here at the edges of retina. Okay, here rods, they are cones, cone full. Fovea is full of cones, right? So R means rod and C means cones. Okay, I hope I have answered your question. So this is what you need to remember: how rods and cones they are distributed in a human eye. Okay, okay, and as you can see here, rods are found further on the retina and they are less tightly packed as compared to cones. They are tightly packed and they give us a sharp image. Okay? Now we have to basically study today the two functions of eye. One of them is the iris reflex or the pupil reflex, and second is the eye accommodation or the lens accommodation. When we see something, the image is upright, but how we Let me read it. A question is there. When we see something, the image is upright, but how we see the object as it is in size and shape. Basically, see, let me tell you that if you people have learned images, lenses, and physics, then you might know that a real image is always upside down, right? And the virtual images are erect, while erect and the real images are upside down. Now, this is something that is the function of the brain. Whatever we are seeing, when the light goes to the retina, right, it forms a real image. ठीक है, कॉन्वेक्स लेंस है. We have a lens which is present in our eye. It always form a real image. If you have done these images in physics, light chapter in physics, then you might know that convex lens which is present in our eye, right, it always form a real image that is upside down. But this is something brains think that it make us appear upright, right? It's a converging lens. Yes, it's a converging lens. It's not a diverging lens. Definitely. And this is what we will be discussing in accommodation. But before accommodation, we you will understand once we will be discussing accommodation, how we lose eyesight sometime whenever the retina is detached. Now this tissue which is present, this retina, which is present at the back of your eyesight, when it is detached, or your rods or cone cells, they are malfunctioned, or there are some genetic disorders. Some, for example, some of the people who have night blindness, they are not able to see in the night. What happens to them? Because of the rod cells, they are not working, their rod cells are malfunctioned, that's why they are not able to see. So losing eyesight has many reasons behind it. Some are the genetic reasons, some are age wise, right, and some are due to the lens. When we will be discussing accommodation, then I will be discussing further that how we suffer in long sightedness or far sightedness or the short sightedness problem, right? That's why we start to use spectacles. Color blindness is because of the rod cells. Rod cells, color, sorry, not the color blindness, night blindness, right? And the color blindness is due to the malfunctioning of the cone cells, and night blindness is due to the malfunctioning or not working at all. Some people cannot, uh, some people cannot basically see in the night or in the darkness. That's because the reason behind is that their rod cells are not working at all. And some people are having very very difficulty in watching, their rod cells are working but not working properly, right? And the cone cells are basically and their color blindness is just because as we have three type of cone cells, red, blue, and green. So if one of them is not functioning well, then that light will not be sensed by our eye. That's why we are able to identify that color. I hope your question would have been answered. Let's move towards the pupil's reflex. Now the pupil reflex is basically, if you observe that, uh, whenever we can see either in bright light or in dim light. Now let's say that the light which is coming from the outside, right, if all of the light which is present outside us, for example during a very sunny bright day, when you go out, right, so there is too much light outside, and sometimes there is too much light that you have to wear sunglasses, or you start to watch your with partially opened eyes, because that light actually is hurting your eyes, right? So our eye has a reflex. Now reflex are the involuntary actions which your central nervous system is trained to do. So you do not have to ask them, you do not basically think about to do them, it happens automatically. These are the automatic actions which your central nervous system does. So whenever you are in a very bright light, the size of the hole which is present in your eye, which is actually this pupil. If you can see this, that this pupil, the black thing, it is not a structure, it's just the hole, right? This hole, the size of this holes becomes shorter and bigger. These holes become wider and narrower, and actually the size of this hole is controlled by the muscles which are present in the iris. And why the size is controlled? So that less light goes into your eye whenever you are in bright light, because that light can damage your retina. So those people who work with computer all the time, right, those people who have exposure to very bright light, their eyesight starts to go off. Why? Because it's slowly damaging your photoreceptor cells which are present. ठीक है? No, not blink. Yes, blinking is also a reflex section, but blinking is another reflex section, right? But uh, the control of the size of the pupil size, right? This is something else. Means the pupil size getting shorter and bigger, right? This is actually the pupils or iris reflex, which is actually meant to enter less or more light, right? For example, if you are in dark, if there is less light outside, if there is dim light outside, you would want more light to enter into your eye, so that you may able to see clearly, right? But when you are outside outdoor at mid afternoon, right, in afternoon, like 12 or 1 p.m., there is lots of light outside. So that's why that light is quite dangerous for your photoreceptor cells in your retina. So you have a reflex to control this pupil size. This pupil size, which acts like a shutter, that basically narrows down so that less light enters in your eye, and that less light would not basically damage your retina. And in dark light, for example, in dim light at night time, this pupil size increases so that more light enters in your eye, and you would be able to see clearly. Just like, let me show you the two diagrams so that you may able to see. See, here the size of the pupil is shorter, smaller, while in this you can see a big uh, size of the pupil. Now, this bigger size of the pupil is when you are in dark or in night time, right? And these are basically beta ask question as related to the topic. Do not ask the questions which are not related to the topic, right? So these questions, sorry, the lens, as you can see that the size of the pupil which is present here, right, you can see that the size of this pupil is smaller. Why it is smaller? Because at that time we are under the circumstances where there is a bright light, so our brain basically guide the light to make the size of this pupil to become shorter and smaller, so that less light enters into your eye, and so the photoreceptor cells in the retina may not get damaged. While this happens when we are in dim light at night time. Now, how this occurs, right? This is just the hole. This pupil is just the hole. Now, as you can see, the brown part of this, the colored part of your eye, is actually the iris, right? And iris is made up of two types of muscles. And if you remember the antagonistic term that we had discussed earlier, that the antagonistic muscles are those muscles which work in pair form. If one contracts, the second one relaxes. If the second one contracts, the first one relaxes. So this iris has two types of muscles, circular and radial muscles. Look at this eye. Can you see these type of muscle? Now these are the circular muscle, and these are the radial muscles which are present in your colored part of your eye, which is called iris, right? And they work in antagonistically. So if radial muscles, now this is called radial, this is called radial, and circular means like this. These are the circular muscles. So if circular muscles contract, radial muscle relax. If radial muscle contract, circular muscle relax. Now what happens whenever there is a dim light and there is a bright light? Now I have made a table for you, and this is what you have to remember. So if you remember the contraction and relaxation of these two muscles in dim light, you can easily write down the opposite of that for the bright light. So in the dim light, when we want our pupil, sorry, when in dim light, when we want our pupil size to get widened, right, bigger, okay, and in bright light, what we want our pupil size to get smaller. ठीक है. So in dim light what happens? Circular muscles contract, these circular muscles contract, and this radial muscle relax. So due to the radial muscle relaxation, relaxation means to, like this, now they are loosened and they are relaxed, right? So this relaxation make the pupil size smaller, and these circular muscles are contracting, right, in the dim light. So that's why the size of the pupil is small. But when there is a bright light, what happens? The circular muscles are relaxing, right, relaxing, and these radial muscles, they are contracting. Now due to the contraction, this whole size is increasing. Now this is the pupil size, now this is the pupil, right? And as you can see that here they are relaxing, that's why they are looking longer as compared to here, because they are contracting. So whenever something contract, its sides become smaller, right? And whenever something relaxes, its sides become longer. So here the radial muscles, they are relaxing, and here the radial muscles, they are contracting. So that's why the size of the pupil is getting changed. So what, how do I remember? I Let me tell you my trick, that whenever I have to tell how what happens during in the dim light, I always feel in dim light, thus this size has to be increased. So what can make it increase? The radial muscles contraction. So obviously if radial muscles are contracting, the circular muscles would be relaxing. And what happens in the bright light? These radial muscles will slacken, they will they will relax, and the circular muscle antagonistically contract to make it, to make the pupil size smaller, right? So this is called the pupil reflex or iris reflex. The two things that you need to remember: first, the name of this reflex, because sometimes they ask you to write down the name or state the name of the reflex uh, when a person has to see in bright light. So that is the pupils reflex or iris reflex, right? Second thing, you need to remember what contracts and what relaxes in dim light and in bright light. For this you would need to remember this table, right? So in dim light, radial muscle relax, circular muscle contract. In bright light, radial muscle contract. No, I have made a mistake here. What I have done here is, it's not. In dim light, radial muscles contract and they relax, right? And here in bright light, they contract and radial muscles relax. Okay? So now it's correct. Contract, relax, its bigger size. Bright light, relax, contract, its smaller size. Okay? So this is with the pupils reflex. Okay? Is there any question regarding this pupil reflex you may ask? Or if all of you have understood? Yes, please. Yes. I'm waiting for your question. Difference between radial and circular? Bete, both are muscles of the iris, right? Radial muscles, they are found like this way, Okay, in the iris, their positions are different. And circular muscles, they are found like this way. Okay, and they work in pair. Both of them work in pair and they work antagonistically, and they are also called antagonistic muscles. Okay, their position is different actually. Okay. Any more question? Okay, let's move towards eye accommodation. Now, see, we have one more question. Yes, please. After laser surgery, our lens get changed and by new artificial lens. How can our muscles do with that? Now, there is a difference. Lens is difference and iris is difference. Now, if you remember, let me show you. Now, see this diagram carefully. See this diagram carefully. This is the lens that is actually replaced during a lens surgery. Okay, and these are the iris muscles. Okay, these are the muscle. This is the iris, right? And this is the lens. So your lens is replaced, your iris is not replaced, right? So your lens replacement doesn't affect your iris muscles working. This is what you need to understand. Lens is a convex lens, it is another structure, iris is an another structure, right? And as you can see that there is a space between these iris, and this is actually the pupil, and this hole basically lets the light to enter into the lens so that this lens may bend the light and may focus it, right? Okay, can you show how radial muscles contract? Wait. So see, this is, for example, if radial muscles are, whenever they are like relaxing radial muscles, they would be like this way. This is just a graphical representation, right? And whenever they will be contracting, so they it would be like that. That would be helping. The contraction of radial muscle is basically making the size of the pupil to get stretched, to get bigger, right? But whenever they are relaxing, so just think of a rubber band. Whenever you stretch it, what happens? For example, if a rubber band is tied with something, whenever you stretch it, right, the size of something gets bigger. But whenever you make it loose, whenever you stop pulling it, the size it becomes smaller. So same thing is happening here. They are contracting means they are stretching the size of the pupil size, right? So that's why it is happening here. They are losing, so that's why the size got smaller. So they pull and circular push when they contract. You could say that, but do not say pull and push, please. These are the words that if you would be using in your exam, you will not get the marks. You will only get the marks when you would be writing radial muscle contract and circular muscle relax when there is a dim light, to make the pupil size bigger, so that more light may enter into the lens to see the object clearly in dim light, right? Do not write pull and push. Simple. Contraction means to get shortened, okay? And relaxing means to get bigger, to relax bigger. For example, if you stretch your legs, this is relaxing. But when you make your legs shorter, right, this is something contraction, you could say that. Just it's just like that, okay? Now let's move towards eye accommodation. Now a question. Now there is another function of eye, our lens. Now the lens function come here. We have discussed the iris function with the pupils reflex, right? And Now the lens function is there. Lens function, as we have already discussed in the last class, that it basically focuses light, it refracts light. Reflection, what's the difference between reflection and refraction? Anyone? Reflection and refraction, what is reflection and what is refraction? Refraction, bending of light. What about reflection? Yes, Ibrahim, right, it's bending of light, but what about refraction? Yes, very right. What about the other student? Very right, Ibrahim. Reflection is basically the bouncing back of the light from the surface, right? Which is usually right, which is usually sometimes from the opaque. For example, if any object which is quite shiny and opaque, right, so the light bounce back. And refraction is basically when the light basically enters, light transmits through the another medium, but when there is a change in the medium, lights bend, right? So for example, if the light is traveling from the air and enters into the glass, now glass is an another medium and air is an another medium, so the speed of light actually changes in from air to glass, right? Speed of light is higher, you could say that it travels more in air as compared to glass, so that's why the light bends in the glass. Same as whenever the light which is basically pass, if you have done any experiment using the glass slab refraction of light in your school, you might have done it, right? That how it happens. For example, if this is the glass slate and the light is basically coming here, right, the two way can happen. Either light can bounce back, this is called the reflection, or either the light enters but changes its direction. Now this bending is basically called the refraction, but when it goes back again to the air, it's again its direction would be changed, because their speed of light is changed in different mediums. In liquid it is different, in glasses it is different, in solids it is different. That's why we see that the bending of the erect object in water, because of the speed of light and the refraction of light, right? So actually what happens that whenever we have to see any object, the purpose of cornea and lens is to focus the light which is coming from some object. As you know that how do we see the things? We see the things, for example, if this is the object and this is our eye, right? This is our eye and this is the object. Now, this object is not producing light, it's not emitting light. What is happening? If let's say if there is light, this is falling on this light and that is coming to our eyes, right? And that's where we are able to see this object. Now, the light which is coming, which is falling on this object and is coming to our eyes, is coming in several directions, very diverging light that our eye is facing. Now, this light has to be basically focused on our retina. Now, this is our retina, and this is the lens, and this is the cornea. Okay, so the light which is coming from different direction, this has to be bent, this has to be focused, and this has to be focused at the fovea. Right now, at fovea there are many photoreceptor cells are present, and the image has to be formed there. So that's why this light has to be focused on this fovea. And for focusing, for refraction of the light, we have two structure. Number one is the cornea, which is this structure. This is the cornea, right? And the second structure is this lens. Cornea does the main bending of light, main refraction, and the lens does the fine focusing. It clarifies image fovea. Basically, at fovea are image forms actually. Whatever the object that is in front of you, its image forms at fovea, right? So, and fovea has full photoreceptor cells as well. it basically sends the light, sends the message to the brain, and then brain send back the message at from the optic nerve, and the image forms at fovea. Now this is a very complex basically mechanism. At this level you should only need to understand. See, the light, this is an object, right? This is, see, as I told you, we have a convex lens, and convex lens always forming, uh, you could say that opposite direction, real image, which is always the opposite. ठीक है, upside down. For example, if if this is the image, if this is the object, the image that we can see is like this. But actually what happens, whatever, because in virtual image, like in mirror, what is the type of the image in mirror? It is always a virtual, because if we are standing, we always see ourselves standing in the mirror. It is a virtual image, right? Because mirror is a convex, whatever the mirror that we have at our home to see ourselves. Is it a convex mirror or it is a concave mirror? Anyone, please. There is now physics involved in biology. Yes. You, it looks flat, but actually it's not flat. It looks flat, but actually it's not flat. Anyway, just think about it, just Google it, that which mirror do we have in our home? Is it a concave or it is a convex mirror, right? And why the image that we can see in the mirror is virtual, right? It is a virtual image. Always remember, because real image is always upside down. ठीक है, so whenever you see an image from the convex, right, it is always upside down. ठीक है, but this is something, the brain magic, that makes the image to appear as upright. ठीक है, so if I'm seeing someone standing, right, actually the image that is forming on the retina is upside down, but the brain is converting that image to its upright, and we are able to see the things as they are actually. ठीक है, so this is what you have to see. Now see what happens, that whenever we see the objects, either they are nearby or either they are far away from us. Okay? So whenever there is an object which is quite near to us, right? The light which is coming from that object is quite diverged light. Okay? Like this. Let me show you. For example, if this is an object that is quite near to us, so the light which is coming, entering into our eye, is quite diverged. Now, this light has to be focused more, ठीक in order to get it focused here, ठीक so that we may have an image here. Now, when the light rays which are diverging greatly, they need to be focused more. At that time, one of the focusing is done by the cornea, the next, the rest of the focusing is done by the lens. So whenever we need more focusing of light, the lens has to be more bulging or more curved, because the more curved for the lens, it will focus more light. But whenever we have to see something which is coming from, whenever we have to see something which is far away, now that light is not that much diverging, that light is slightly diverging. So we have already two focusing objects, cornea and lens. At that time, cornea is doing its function, it is refracting the light. But the lens, if let's say if the lens is more bulging, it will focus light more, so the light will focus over here. Let's say if the lens is more bulging, okay, so this light will focus where? This light will focus here, before the place, before reaching over there. Okay, and if the lens is fine, if for example, if the object which is quite far from us, this light does not have to be focused more, because already the light which is coming from that object is less divergent. So this less divergent light does not have to be focused more. So that's why our lens is not that much bulging. It is like you can see the shape of this lens. It is like elongated shape, right? So that's why, so that because the main purpose is to make the light focus on this retina, right? So if the lens won't change its shape, if the lens become non-elastic, if the lens become rigid, if lens does not become, yes, right now it is doing so in this diagram, but you do not have to focus. But what fovea is a place where the image is formed, right? You remember this. I have just taken a picture from somewhere, but it, you do not have to consider, but you remember this, that it forms at fovea, right? Let me, in fact, let me get the picture from some other diagrams as well, from other sources. Wait a minute. So as you can see in this diagram, that the light which is coming basically from a distant object, it is not that much divergent, right? So it does not have to be focused more. So that's why the lens does not have to be more bulging. The thing that you always need to remember, that whenever there is more diverging light, it has to be focused more, and for focusing more, the lens has to be more curved and convex shape, more bulging type of shape, like in this diagram. But whenever the light which is coming from a distant object, a far object, like for example, if you have to see a aeroplane flying in the air, it flying on the sky, or the kite flying in the sky, right? That object is quite far. So the light which is coming from that object is not that much divergent. So that why it does not have to be focused more. So that's why the shape of the lens does not have to be more convex required. So this is actually done by the muscles and the ligaments, suspensory ligaments and ciliary muscles. Now, ciliary muscles and suspensory ligaments, yes, fovea is a part of retina, right? So, suspensory ligaments and ciliary muscles are those structure of the eye that help to change the shape of the lens. Now, in pupils reflex, the shape of the size of the pupil was changing in the dim and bright light, while in lens accommodation, whenever we are seeing any nearby object or any far object, the size of the lens or the shape of the lens is being changed. So, as you can see in this diagram, this lens is more elongated and this lens is less elongated, rather it is bulging, more curved. And why it is more curved? Because it has to light focus more light, because the light is coming from a nearby object which is more divergent, so it becomes thicker, right? And this light, it is coming from a very far object, so that's why the light is not that much divergent. So that's why the lens is elongated, it is pulled by the ciliary muscles and the suspensory ligaments, which will make it elongated, so the light will not be focused more, right? Because the fine focusing is done by lens. So if there is more fine focusing, the light will be focused earlier, right? What I am trying to make you understand is that, for example, if the light is focused in this case, if this is bulging, right, the light would be focused here, and that's why you are able to see a blur object. You cannot the see, you will be able to see the object, but that would be blur. That happens when your eyesight starts to get weak, right? And what happens, for example, in this case, when it has to be more thick, and let's say it's not getting thicker, but sorry, in this case, it the image will be forming more here, right? The light will be more focused here, the far away it is going. And in this case, the if the lens is not getting bulging, the image will be forming here. Before that, in both the cases, that we say qareeb ki nazar, dur ki nazar, that we say usually, what happens in that case? It happens because the light is not getting focus at the right place, and that's why we are able to see blurry objects, sometimes the near things, sometimes the far objects. So far objects, when they are more focusing, so that's why the image is being focused beyond the retina, and that's why we are not able to see something clearly. And when our lens is not basically bulging more, curving more, then we start to see the blurry things, the things which are near to us, because the image is being focused before the retina. So that's why we are able to see a blur image. I can understand this. You might feel it a little bit tricky, but this is what you need to understand. What you need to understand is, right, and this is actually called the lens accommodation. What you need to understand is, from distant object, right, distant object, less focusing required, focusing required. And whenever we require less focusing, it means that lens shape should be elongated, lens shape elongated, right? And for example, the near object, now for the near object we require more focusing, right, more focusing of light. So it means that more bulging shape of lens is required, more. I'm making a mistake, right, bulging or curve, whatever you could say. Now what are the things, what are the events that basically make it happen? ठीक है, what are the events that basically that are making this happens, to make the shape of the lens, to make the, yes bete, what happened? I have already replied your question. Fovea is a part of retina. What do you want to ask more? Okay, now what are the events that basically take place to make this lens bulging and elongated? Thinness to refraction. Because wait, this is what you need to understand. See, wait, if something is more curvy, right, the light which is coming will be more bending, right, it will be more bending. Try to understand, this is something that you need to have a concept. If there is a more convex lens, for example, the light would be focusing more, ठीक है, that the light would be refracting more, right, which would make the light to get focused at a place earlier before the retina, right? And let's say that if the lens is less curvy, right, thin, you could say that elongated, so this would be less focusing the light, and the light would be focusing right at this retina in the case of far objects. But whenever the object is near, the light is quite diverging. This object is here nearby the eye, it has a divergent light, so this light has to be focused more. But whenever you are seeing something for from a distance, this light is not that much divergent. This is a fact that you would need to learn, and perhaps it would be more clear when you will be doing your light chapter, or your lenses and image formation in physics, so that you will be able to relate it, right? Because as whenever we are teaching this basically topic, we expect to students have basic knowledge of image formation, refraction, and all that. So I hope the previous background knowledge would be helping you out. If you not have, you will be able to relate it whenever you will be doing this light and image formation chapter. So what I was saying, that the events that take place to make this lens shape elongated or thin, right, elongated or thin, or here you could say that bulging, curvy, or thick. So the events that are required to make the lens shape different, there are two structures which are associated, and these two structure, one is ciliary muscle and second is suspensory ligaments. Now suspensory ligaments are just like strings, ठीक है, they are not muscles. And ciliary muscles, they are muscles, means they can contract and relax. But suspensory ligaments, they are like strings, ठीक है. They, you will not be writing that they are contracting or relaxing, rather you would be writing they are becoming slacken, right, or taut. Taut means tight, right, and slacken means to get loose. The terms that you would be using, which I'm about to discuss, we have only a minute left and I had to complete this topic. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I will be keep on recording this class and I will be completing this whole eye accommodation and will be sharing the link with you all so that you may be able to complete this eye accommodation in one go, right? Because I would not want to continue this topic tomorrow. We will be continuing with the next topic, which is actually the hormones tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Because with that, the eye topic would be covered, right? How distance causes thinness of lens. Because see, object, whenever any object which is quite far away from the lens, so the light is not that much divergent, means the light from the sun or light from any luminous body which is falling on that object and which is basically reflecting towards our eye, it is not that much diverging as compared to a nearby object. This is something that you need to understand, right? If you have further problem, I will be we can discuss in personal text, okay? So in suspensory ligaments are those ligaments which are like string, they do not contract and they do not relax, rather they slacken or taut. Now slacken is a term basically which is used for using loose, right, and taut for tight. Now whenever if you have to write what happens in the eye accommodation, right, we never say that suspensory ligament become loose or suspensory ligaments become tight. Rather we say that suspensory ligament become slacken or they become taut. These are the terms that you would have to use. So what happens in the eye accommodation, I will be uh, rather making a table for you so that you may able to uh, okay. So here a distant object and a near object. So if there is any object which is distance or any object which is nearby, so there are the two basically structure which are involved: ciliary muscles and suspensory ligaments, and the shape of the lens, right? So whenever there is a distant object, our shape of the lens required thin, right, and the near object we required a thick or a more curvy lens, right? So what happens for making the lens thin, right? For example, if you have a full inflated balloon, for example, if this is a balloon, right, and this is the balloon is tied with the strings which are elastic. Now if you will basically stretch the elastic, these strings, this balloon will become like this, right? And whenever you are basically loosening it, the balloon will become again like this. So same is happening with the lens. Assume lens is just like the balloon which has basically these suspensory ligaments on its end, and these suspensory ligament cannot become tight or loose with their own will. There is a muscle. Now, this muscle is actually the ciliary muscle. This muscles, when contract or relax, this makes the strings to contract to make loose or tighten. This is the ciliary muscles. This is the basically the ciliary muscle, and these are the suspensory ligaments. So when ciliary muscle contract, these suspensory ligaments, they become loosened, and whenever they are relaxed, they become taut. So this is what you need to remember, right? So suspensory ligament have to be taut whenever there is a distant object to make it thin. These strings have to be stretched, right? Taut. There must be a tension in it. Whenever we stretch something, there is a tension in it to make it elongated, right? So the suspensory ligament would be taut when the ciliary muscles, they relax. Whenever they relax, suspensory ligaments taut. And whenever ciliary muscles contract, these suspensory ligaments slacken, they become loosened, just like to make it bulging again. They will be making the this bulging, right? Let me tell you this again, that what is happening. For example, this is the lens, right? So these suspensory ligaments, they are slackened, now they are loosened, so that's why the shape would be more bulging. But whenever they are stretching, right, so the lens will become elongated. This is actually happening in accommodation. So what you need to remember is that in distant object, the shape of the lens has to be thin, and the near object, it has to be thick and curvy. And for that, the suspensory ligament have to be taut in distant object, and in near object it has to be slackened, and ciliary muscle relax in for making the shape of the lens thin. They relax, and whenever they contract, they make it the suspensory ligaments slacken. So this way, the size of the shape of the shape of the lens is being changing from curvy to elongated, from elongated to curvy. So this is actually helps the lens shape to get changed when there any object which we are seeing from a distance, a long distance, a far distance, and if there is any object which is nearby to us. So this completes the eye accommodation or the lens accommodation. We will be solving 2 to 3 questions relevant to it in our next class to basically have an idea, uh, to basically apply our knowledge of lens accommodation, that if any example which is given to us, for example, if we have to see a bird flying in the air, what are the events that will take place in the eye to make us to see that bird clearly. Now, in order to see that bird clearly, and which is far away from us, the lens has to be elongated because the bird is far away. We do not want fine focus. We do not want more focusing. We only want a little bit of refraction, a little bit of bending of light. For that, this lens has to be elongated. And when this lens has to be elongated, right, the suspensory ligament would be taut when ciliary muscles will relax. And for example, if we have to read a book, then reading a book is from the near, because book is a nearby object to us, we have to read it. At that time, our lens has to be more convex, more curvy, and for making it more curvy, our suspensory ligaments have to be slackened, they have to be loose, and for making them loose, ciliary muscles contract. So this is what we need to remember, and this ends the topic here. And let me show you the syllabus that we have covered. Okay, in this diagram we can also see that the right, the light focusing tension in the suspensory ligament making the, it is getting lower, so that's why the lens is getting more curvy. Now the syllabus, that is, yes, explain the pupil reflex in terms of light intensity and antagonistic action of circular and radial muscles in the iris. 5. Explain accommodation to view near and distant object in terms of contraction and relaxation of the ciliary muscle, tension in the suspensory ligaments, shape of the lens, and refraction of light. 4 things basically we have to uh, discuss here, and I have added 3 here. Let me add one more here. Suspensory ligament tension, right? Taut means more tension, right? Means more tension, right? And slacken means less tension. right? Whenever a string is stretched with force, it has more tension, and whenever you do not stretch it, it has less tension. And refraction of light, how much light is being refracted. So for that, wait, refraction, why it is refraction of light required. For seeing a far object, we required less refraction, right? Less refraction or less focusing. And for seeing an object, a near object, we require more refraction, more bending of light, because the light is quite divergent. More refraction or more focusing, right? So this completes our lecture, and inshallah ta'ala we will be continuing this coordination and control in the next lecture. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.